Hello YouTube, and welcome to my thoughts on Anna Williams' video. I'm choosing this footage because this was a little bit later into the combo practice. You'll kind of see a little bit more the intricate combos that she has, and that was one of the first things I was impressed with. She is just amazing with juggles, and I'm the type, I like juggle combos personally, and there are many different options. I have not quite remembered all of them yet, but I would have to say there's at least 5 of them that I do remember offhand. Lows, highs, mids, and another thing too, she has a ton of moves, a ton of combos, and I was really impressed with Anna so far. Just how fast she moves, the sheer amount of combos, how easy it is to combo into her super moves. I mean, it is actually insane. I never really, well, I can't say never. In certain Tekkens, I wasn't a huge fan of her. I think the last Tekken, I really kind of dropped her. She was very awkward for me. But in this, like I said, I mean, her moves just, for the most part, just flow together. And you have a number of options. You have a number of knockdowns. You have a number of launchers. But like I said, mainly just the pop-ups, just being able to juggle your opponent and go for some really heavy damage. Especially, like I said, a lot of them do combo into her super move, which will just increase the damage. At one point, I did a combo where it was like 13 hits and 103 damage. So you're looking at a rather massive damage output with her, as well as just a wide arsenal of moves to really keep your opponent guessing in battle. And much like King, she will take some time to learn, especially if you're like me and your memory's not always the greatest thing in the world. She will take some getting used to. It's not just pick up and go. However, from what I heard of the DLC, Lei Wulong is even more of a Master's character. His move list is just insane. I do not personally have him. I cannot speak to how he plays and how hard he is to learn from a personal standpoint. But from what I've heard, his move list is rather extensive as well. So if you're more into just really labbing a character and just really, taking some time to learn, and a character that can just, keep the opponent on their toes like no other. It kind of seems like if you're only looking at one character from the DLC, Lei Wulong would be the one for you. My only real criticism of Anna, and to be fair, this is kind of a thing that you have to learn with every character from the start, but her range, even like with her kicks, doesn't seem to be incredibly long. I did verse the computer for a little bit. I was able to get some perfect victories, like maybe, I don't know, 2 to 3, maybe 4 out of all the times I played, which was for closer to a half hour. And it's mainly just because I was expecting the range to go even farther than it did. I was whiffing a lot, and I would get punished a lot by the AI because of it. But to be fair, it wasn't a drastic loss. I never actually lost a match. I think literally the whole time I was playing, I may have lost a round, still learning the character, but I never lost matches. So again, just kind of in summation, just a really fun character, really quick movements, extensive combos, a lot of options to really keep your opponent guessing. But really the only criticism I have is just the seeming lack of reach. But again, like I said, that's kind of compensated for the fact that if you get the super move, if you're really in a pinch, you can, just chain into that super move, even if it is I believe a high. It's either a high or mid. It looks more like a high, but it's still pretty easy to combo into. And if you land that one correct move that launches them in the air and then puts them on their back, you can definitely, pop off that super move for some extensive damage. This is also kind of a video addressing the state of the channel right now. There's kind of a lot going on at once. I actually meant to do this video yesterday, but I was ghost hunting with a friend and a YouTube collaborator, and we were up until about 5:36 in the morning. I had to work the next day. It was miserable yesterday. I pretty much just went home, went to sleep. However, if you're also interested in ghost hunting, definitely check out my friend's channel, Punkcraft. He's the person that I'm collaborating with. We did not record footage this time. It was more of an investigation, and it was definitely very intriguing. Naturally, ghost hunting is a very speculative thing, so I'm not going to sit there and say for a fact that we found these things, but if we're correct, the previous owner of the house is his spirit is still very much there on the second floor. On the third floor, what used to be an attic, apparently a child witnessed a murder, and their spirit is still there. So it's definitely very intriguing. I do not know when we'll have a video up on his channel for anybody that's interested in that. There's talks of going a couple weeks from now when him and I get paid again, but there's also talks of going in October, so I don't really know about that. For anybody that's been subscribed for a little bit, you may have noticed that the regular channel updates were Tuesday, Thursday. I did have always Tuesday, Thursday off to coincide with my acupuncture appointments. This is no longer a thing, not only because the acupuncturist said I do not need to see him as often, but also because I do not have a vehicle, and if nobody's ever lived in Ohio, the weather can be pretty extreme. So it's to kind of really, my schedule is now Thursday, Saturday off to try and coincide as best I can with a coworker so that I can get a ride in. Especially with like winter coming, the winters in Ohio can get really bad. So I'm gonna try my best to upload Thursday, Saturday. Sometimes some videos just aren't really entertaining. And one thing that people may have noticed too, when the channel first started, it was primarily focused on fighting games. I still very much love fighting games. I want to do fighting game videos. But a lot of the content has been Star Wars Battlefront 1 related. The 2015 Battlefront, not the original PlayStation 2, I believe, release. That's just because a lot of the funnier or more epic moments have happened to coincide with that game. But with the release of more DLC for Tekken 7, I do believe the game will be picking up online a little bit more. I have not gone online yet because I want to kind of not necessarily main Anna, but I do want more experience with her. But first, before I go online, I'll definitely want to play the AI, just so I'm not constantly losing matches online and I'm not getting discouraged, because let's face it, a loss isn't a big thing, but when you're constantly losing online, you just kind of don't want to play at that point. Outside of that, I did also pick up Dragon Ball FighterZ recently. I know that's not exactly a brand new game. I'm really kind of behind on that. I meant to rent it as soon as possible, but unfortunately that was not able to happen, to see if I wanted to buy it. With it being on sale at the time that this video is being created, I went ahead and got it for 30 bucks, and I am not disappointed by any means. That game is awesome. I love it. Very sorry, the weather's kind of changing. The throat's kind of, or the allergies are kind of draining. Sorry about that, but yeah, for anyone who has not picked up Dragon Ball FighterZ yet, definitely do it, especially with it being on sale at this very moment on the PlayStation Network for 30 bucks. It is an awesome game. It's really easy to learn, but you still have a lot of options to try and counter, your opponent's movements. And while every fighting game is definitely based off observation and, quick thinking and countering your opponent and whatnot, this game feels more so to me. I can't fully explain it, but it's not extremely combo intensive, and combos are very simple. It's, like, let's just say Tekken, it's like 1, 2, 4, wait a second, into like a crouching 3, 4, 1, and then it pops them up. And I mean, you're not going to have a lot of that on Dragon Ball FighterZ. Character variations do kind of require you to really think about the situation you're in before you launch a special move. But outside of that, it's not extremely combo intensive. You're mainly looking at 1 strands, 2 strands, 3 strands. 4 is your Ki Blast, so you can combo into Ki Blast, but Ki blasts aren't an intensive part of combos, they're more zoning tools in my opinion. And they definitely made the characters, for the most part, different. There are a lot of characters that share Kamehamehas if you fireball forward with a Ki blast. And that's kind of, I don't want to say a cop-out, because that sounds incredibly negative towards Bandai Namco, who made a very enjoyable game. But I don't know, it's kind of discouraging because there's not a lot of variation between characters in that sense, and the fact that pretty much everybody has a Kamehameha. But again, I mean, that's at least so far my only real criticism of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Outside of that, it's an awesome game. I haven't played online. I have heard the netcode is awesome though. Unless you have a bad connection or your opponent does, or both. I've heard nothing but good things about the online play. So, I mean, honestly, I guess, in summation, props to Bandai Namco for all they've done between this game and Dragon Ball FighterZ. Awesome work this year. But yeah, I mean, that's really it for, the channel, and for my thoughts on Annual Williams, and my impromptu thoughts on Dragon Ball FighterZ. But, if you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, the whole typical YouTube thing that you hear at the end of every video. And if you didn't, hey man, I appreciate you giving me a piece of your time. But regardless of where life takes you, here's wishing only the very best to you and all those closest to you. And have a great day.